Hey y'all, what's going on? This is J Marie Booklist, and today I'm making a video titled CNA to Huck, the awkward phase. So this was actually a requested video, and one of the things that I noticed on the channel is that a lot of the viewers are CNAs, PCAs who became Hucks or who do both. And I made a video a long time ago, one of my first videos, about the rise of the PCA Huck. They call them Pucks. And so I just wanted to give my take on that awkward phase that you all go through, those of you who are, CNAs to Hucks or both. And I've seen it. So I'm just going to give my take on what I've seen and what you can do to maybe make it so not awkward. So there are I want to say it's like 3 different types of situations that you all are in, and it's the CNA who becomes a Huck. So you go from a CNA to a Huck. And like I always talk about, the one secretary in the ICU, she was trained, so she was a Huck she was a PCA, CNA on our sister floor. And when one of the Hucks went off on maternity leave, they cross-trained her to become a Huck. So then when she came back from maternity leave, the one that had been cross-trained was going to go back to being a CNA, but she didn't want to. She liked being a secretary, and she was good at it. I will give her that. But she was good as a Huck too. She was good at CNA too. She had that personality, and it just so happened that in the ICU, the secretary that I work with took another job and left, so that made an opening, and so she just came on down to the ICU, and then that's how she got on. So the ICU, like I always tell, were happy to get her because they thought they were going to get a CNA / Huck because it's a smaller unit. She can do ICU things, because in the ICU, in our ICU, it was just the nurses and the one secretary. That's all that worked. So that's why I was so involved in everything going on, because I had to, because we all needed each other. And so they thought they were going to get someone who can help, assist, even though they were very good at helping each other. Like, that's one of the things when the other nurses from the other ICU would float over to our ICU, they would be like, you all help each other, because on that one, they didn't help each other. And so that was one of the strong points. So it wasn't like they needed the secretary to help, but because they had each other. But, we knew they knew they can count on the secretary for a little something. So they thought they were going to get her to be like, and she was like, no. No. And so she wasn't really, I guess it was kind of like I don't know. I knew they didn't like her that much. She had the personality. She was very outgoing. Like, her personality and my personality was too different. I'm cool with you and everything, but I come here to work, but we cool, but I'm just, I'm gonna do this first, and then we're gonna chit chat. Whereas she was a chit chat and work was, so they liked her, but and I always say, only thing she really did was the post-mortem care. That was what she was very good at. So when a patient died, she was very good at, going there, cleaning the body, taking them to the morgue. She did that. And I'm pretty sure she did other things. I never heard them say she did other things. That's the only thing I ever heard them say that she did, as CNA. She would help clean the body. So for whatever reason, I guess that was soothing to her. It was, I don't know, but that's the only thing I've heard her do. Then we had on our sister floor, we had another Huck. We had another CNA who was cross-trained to work as a HUC. So she could do both, but she didn't do both. So meaning she was a CNA. She was CNA. That's what she was. But she can work as a HUC when they needed her to. So we had 12-hour shifts. And so we had the one secretary would work 3 days, and then the other secretary would work another 3 days. And depending on if it was season, that 7th day, because that's 3 and 3 is 6, and then that 7th day will be open. And if it was season, the HUC, like they used to have us, they not all the time, they tried it though, but they would have us do both floors. So I would work the ICU and that floor. It just all depends on what the census was. But if it's season, yeah, no, you can't do that. You can't be running up. The sister floor is packed. The ICU is packed. You can't do both floors. It's just, but they tried it though. But so she would fill in on that 7th day. And I know she was in an awkward phase because when she worked as a CNA, when she worked as a HUC, they had their little cliques, and some didn't like her, and so I know she was in an awkward phase. And then also they did her wrong a few times because she would be on the schedule to work as a secretary, and she would come in her regular, in the clothes we wore, not in her uniform, just regular clothes, and they would pull her to another floor to work as a CNA. So she came in regular clothes to work as a secretary, and then they will pull her to another floor to work as a CNA. So she would have to go down to the OR and get some scrubs to wear, and she was not happy. I wouldn't be either. If I'm thinking I'm coming to work as a secretary, and you're making me work as a CNA on another floor, but they did that to her enough that the shit wasn't right. But and then they play crazy, and because somebody could at least call her. But see, that's what night shift get for always coming in early. I'm sorry, because if she had been at home, she would have got that call. Okay, but anyway, or at least have some scrubs in your car. Because I remember when I worked on the main floor, the male secretary who worked nights, he used to be a CNA. Now that I think about it, because sometimes he will come in there with scrubs on, which was very rare. But if he knew they were going to be short, he would come in there with his scrubs on and help the CN. Like if they going to be short on CNAs, he would help them. I think he was probably the only one he would help them. See, I just remembered that. And I was like, why he got scrubs on there? Like he used to be a CNA. I was like, oh, I didn't know that, But he ended up becoming a cop. He was in school to be a cop, and he became one. He became a cop, which is a good thing. And but he would help him. I saw him. I'm like, why do you have scrubs on? But he always had scrubs in his car because you never know. So that's what she should have did. But I think she really wanted to be. Matter of fact, I know she did because we talked. She wanted to be a secretary because I want to say she had some health issues. I want to say I heard something like that. She wanted to be because she was in school. I think she was in nursing school. She was in school for something, but she wanted to be a secretary for her health, but the pay, she would take a pay cut, and so she couldn't do all that. And then we had another CNA who became a HUC on the main floor. So this was about time I was about to transfer over to the ICU. They were training her. I think I had already I think they might have had just started training her because so many people were leaving that floor at that time when I left. And I want to say they had already started training her before I gave my resignation. And so I think just to train her to be a backup. I think that was the original plan, for her to be a backup. And then when I gave my resignation, she just went on and slid on up in there. And you know, she was in the awkward phase too, because they used to ask her, like her CNAs, that used to ask her to come help, and she was like, no, I'm not doing it. And then also she was kind of, she was kind of, she took the role, and she got kind of, kind of like, I'm better than you. So not only was she getting it from the CNAs, her, because she was no longer a CNA, she was a secretary, but then she was also getting it from everybody else because she wasn't doing a good job. And her mother-in-law was a housekeeper. I never knew that was her mother-in-law till they told. I knew who the lady was because the lady worked our floor every day, and but I didn't know that was her mother-in-law. And then my friend who was secretary, was telling me. She said the mother-in-law pulled her to the side and said, "You need to straighten up because they talking about you." Because she here, she cleaning the room, she cleaned the break room, and people are just talking, talking about the girl. But they don't know that she the mother-in-law, because like I said, I didn't know either, and I was there. I was over there, and I did not know that was her mother-in-law. They kept it on the hush hush, and she told her, "You better straighten up." So she was catching it from both ends, because she kind of thought she was, I don't need to help you, but then she wasn't doing a good job either, because especially after I left, because I left my print. Wherever I go, I leave my print because I represent. So yeah, her mother-in-law pulled her to the side and said, "You need to straighten up." So she was in an awkward place. And then on the floor that I always talk about, they had all the nurses crying, and we have a name for that floor. One day I'm gonna tell you the name of that name of that floor. It's you gonna holler when I tell you that. But those CNAs, most of them, I want to say most of them were nurse interns. So they were in nursing school. So they were in school to be a nurse, but they were working as a CNA. And that's not uncommon, because I remember that from a long time ago, when I first started, and they had nurse interns. They worked at CNA, and sometimes they would be cross trained to work as a HUC. It just depended on what unit they were on. And that floor was just horrible. The nurses were they just, the way they ran that floor, and then the CNAs, you can never find them. And I think it was because they were they were interns. They were in nursing school. I'm not gonna be doing this, because you can never find them, like never. I'm like, they must think I'm a secretary when I was floater. I mean, not a secretary, I am not the CNA. Like, I stayed in the rooms helping the patients because they light would be going off all day. Like, golly, it's ridiculous. So they became, so like once they finished nursing school, they couldn't, so while they were in nursing school, they worked as CNAs. But once they finished, they couldn't work as a CNA anymore because they were interns. They got hired as interns, not as CNAs. They got hired. So it was like until they finished. So once they finished, they couldn't be a CNA anymore. Because I don't know, maybe they weren't certified. I don't know how all that works. But they couldn't do that no more. So a lot of them got cross-trained to be HUCs. So that floor had a lot of that. So you would think it would be more consistent, but it was never consistent with the staff, because you would figure someone would be coming out of school, and then they would cross-train them because they plan on hiring them. But they gotta finish their board. They gotta take their boards first. So they graduate, but they gotta take their board. So they will work as a HUC while they're studying for their boards, and then once they take the boards and pass and get their, then they can go ahead and come on as a nurse. You would think they would have enough staff. They never had enough staff, but they were just like not good. They were not good CNAs, and they were not good HUCs. You would think they would stay on, but they just, because that floor never had staff. I mean, when they had staff, they pulled everybody from everywhere. That's how they had staff. And I'm like, this don't make no sense. But they weren't. I don't know. I still can't figure out that floor. But they would get trained, and so you would see them, but they don't want to do that. They barely did CNA work. Like, ugh. So it was just, and then when they just doing this until they get I think only knew one that was a halfway decent nurse. But then again, she was a good CNA. She was an intern. I didn't know, because it had been like a while from, because when I floated over there, she was CNA, and then it had been a long time before I went back over there. And then I was looking at her, and I was like, were you a CNA? And she was like, yeah. I was like, oh, okay, because she was in her nursing. She was a nurse. I was like, okay, I thought you looked familiar. I was like, oh, okay, well, go ahead, girl. Go ahead, get you. I didn't know, because I didn't care. But she was probably the most consistent, and she actually did work. And she was a good nurse. She turned out to be a good nurse. And I want to say, now that I think about it, I think I probably did see her sitting at the desk as a secretary. They cross-trained her while she was taking her boards, while she was studying for her boards. I want to say, I think I might have seen that, because I was just looking at her, and I'm like, she's a nurse, but she looked familiar. And then finally I'm like, where you see it? She's like, yeah. Oh, okay. But she was a good nurse. She was actually a good nurse that day. But the rest of them, ugh. And then they did have one. He couldn't pass his board. I loved him. That man, he failed his board a good 4 or 5 times. And he was like, no shame. Like, it was like he felt it like it was the first time he failed. Because you fail. When you become a nurse, you fail. My mom failed her first time. So, that's it is what it is. But like 4 or 5 times, and the way he talked, like, it was just like he just failed for the first time, like, dude. But he finally passed it. I almost broke down crying when he finally passed his board. Cause he was just like, he was him. I love him though. He was a good CNA. And matter of fact, most of the time when he was waiting, because oh my God, it was like 2 years. It was 2 years from the time he graduated to the time he became a nurse. He failed like 4 times, and he would sometimes come in, in the uniform that we wore, and then, but most of the time he was in his scrubs, even though he was not supposed to be doing that. He would help. I don't know, maybe men are different than women, because now I'm thinking about the other guy who was a CNA who became a HUC, but he was going to school to be a police, but he had his scrubs. He always kept his scrub with him. Maybe that's just a guy thing. The women like, yeah, no, I'm not doing this. I'm gonna sit my butt right here. I ain't mad at you. So but he, most time, like, you always saw him in the scrubs, even when he worked as a secretary. I saw him in regular clothes a few times, but usually he was always in the scrubs. But he finally passed. I almost broke down crying when they told me, because I was like, but I loved him. But I don't think they hired him though, because he was entertainment. Let's just put it like that. He was real funny. He was fun people, but I don't think he would have been a good nurse. And I think they knew that, but they kept him around because he did work, but he was entertainment. And so that awkward phase when, so like, say you're a CNA who became a HUC, and you work, see, in the situations I gave you, like in the ICU, there were no other HUCs, other CNAs down there. It was just the nurses and the HUC. So she didn't have that issue. And then, but she might have had the issue when she was filling in for the girl during maternity leave. And then the one who was the CNA who got cross trained, I know she had issues with them, but I don't think all of it stemmed from her being a huck, a secretary. I think it was other issues because they had their little click on night shift. So, but I know she had issues with them, and I'm pretty sure they didn't like her anyway. And then now because one day you one of us and the next day you're not. So and then the mother and daughter-in-law, she was in that awkward phase. So the only thing I could suggest is that when you ask them to do something for you, like this is how I talk. I'm just a secretary, but from working on that on the main floor and all the attitude I used to get, one of the things that I just got in the habit of saying was, so like let's say a patient would put on the call light, they need whatever. It's something I can't help them with. They need the CNA. The nurse is busy, CNA. So when I would, and I do this for everybody, I would do it, when I would call, I'd be like, hey, this is Jackie at the desk. When you get a chance, room 56 needs whatever. Needs to go to the bathroom. Needs help going to the bathroom. But what you put in there is when you get a chance. Don't say because if you in that awkward place and they used to be your equal and now they think you above them, even though the secretary is considered lower, because like the one who was a CNA who got cross-trained, she wanted to be a secretary, but she didn't want to go down and pay because we get paid less than CNAs. You make money. If I could tolerate being a CNA, I probably would have been one just for the money, because I would have been hustling, because they was up in there hustling, getting their side money. They befriend the patients and, oh, you need a sitter and I can sit for you, and they be hustling. Because the one secretary used to do that. But I don't think she was a CNA, but she used to sit with them people. I don't know how she did it. Because when I was in the ICU, she came over there one time and was sitting with us. She got hired by a family. I don't know, but anyway, she got her paper though. But if I could tolerate being a CNA, I probably would have been. And I thought about it, maybe becoming a CNA, because a lot of places, they want a CNA/huck. That's what they want. So I thought about it. I'm like, it got to be worth me. It got to be worth it. But I don't know. I don't know if I could do it. I was like, I don't know. I don't think I thought about it, but I don't know. The part of me is like, no, Jackie, no. So one of the things I always say is when you get a chance. So I'm not telling you go do it now, but when you get a chance, can you blah blah blah. And then if the patient keeps calling, and they haven't got there yet, because that is that awkward phase. If the patient keeps calling, just say, I notified them they'll be there shortly. So it's not like you don't tell the patient, well, I told them, just say I notified them they'll be there shortly, something like that, so you can keep it, because they already it's just that awkward phase. It's that awkward place that you're in, and you're on eggshells, and then because they got an attitude with you for no reason, because you better than them, even though, but then they feel like they're taking orders from you. Do you understand? And yesterday y'all was helping each other clean patients together, and now they still doing it, but you at the desk giving them orders. So just the way you speak to them, you gotta change it up. So just be like, when you get a chance. So I learned that from just working on that main floor. So I just always say that, hey, this is Jackie at the desk. When you get a chance, patient in room, blah, 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 you know, but just when you get a chance, just to let them know that you're not giving them an order. You're just telling them that the patient in the room needs help, but you're not giving them an order. So don't, you know, when you get a chance. So when they finish with that patient, wherever they at, or finish doing what they're doing, you know, but when you get a chance. And then they can prioritize in their head. And if they don't do it, that's on them. But you know, and if the patient keeps calling, I notified your CNA, they'll be in there shortly. So that you're neutral. You're neutral. So if they don't do what they supposed to do, that's on them. And don't feel you got to run behind folks and chase folks down, because you already told them. You told them when you get a chance, and then the patient, I notified them they'll be in there shortly. So you neutral. Don't keep calling them with attitude. Don't do all that, because you in that weird space. I've seen it. And I was like, And look, and I know some CNAs can be, they just mad just for no reason. Probably because they ain't got no sleep because they've been out there hustling, getting that money. Okay, I ain't mad at you. Okay, you do 12 hours here, then you go and get your money, go sit with somebody and be a sitter for some rich people. I see you. I know what y'all be doing. So, but that's all I got for you. I know you're in the awkward phase, and tell me where you at in the comments. Put in the comments where you at. Are you a CNA who became a HUC? Are you a CNA who is cross-trained as a HUC, but you work as a CNA majority of the time? Are you a nurse intern, and you know you're just working as a CNA, and you know, or you worked as a CNA, you finished school, you just waiting to take your boards, you just going, you know, studying right now for your boards, and you're working as a secretary. Tell me where you at in this equation, and I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.